Free black people, free black people, free black people. I just want to make this little short video about my opinion, and just my opinion again, on um, this woman running for president of this um, United States of Slave Masters. Um, uh, it's interesting, but first I want you to listen to what prompted me to make this video. Listening to Roland Martin talk about him and his panel of some so-called conscious brothers and sisters, but they're promoting her. And I just, my main thing would disqualify her, even though I'm not voting again. I got tricked into voting back when, but I won't make that same mistake again. That's a decision I made for myself, being free. I'm not suggesting you do the same. It's up to you. I'm suggesting you be free. And if you be free, you will realize that that's some bullshit. But anyway, I want you to listen for about, I don't know, 8 minutes of this, and then I'll come back and wrap up my opinion about the chick that I believe that's disqualified because she was a prosecutor, for one. Anytime you lock up black people up under the system and you join the slave masters team, that means a cop, and I was almost a cop, and the ancestors said, hell no, you ain't gonna be no cop and whatever, because it's going to cause you to do harm to your people, so you can find another way to make a living. And her being a prosecutor, them is the demons in every city and town that locked us up. So here, listen to this crap for a moment, or listen to this some of it's wisdom. I want you to listen to where they're going with this, just for the sake for you to make your decision when it comes down. They're so early with this. This is a couple years away. Anything can happen, but and I'm just saying that it's just another Obama coming into a light that make you believe. But unless they were children of slaves, I'm not interested. Come back. When I get interested in politics again is when a child of slaves is running. Common sense. But here you go. Check this video out. I mean, it's not video. It's just audio. I'm not going to, open your ear for a second, please.
And I'm telling you, it is the Obama effect.
Yeah.
The frustration for black people. Oh, also, I'm sorry. When you also written for Ebony and Essence. No, because the reason because the reason I'm also saying that, I do recall writing a piece that ran in January of 2009 for Essence, where I said, just because he is elected does not mean that what we want gets done.
Right.
We have to make sure to push him to make it happen. And so, when you get to this whole point about black agenda, there are some people where the only thing they define as the black agenda is she going to publicly support reparations?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the only thing they talk about. The Obama effect is when Obama kept saying, rising tides lift all boats. That angered a lot of black folks because, on another hand,
But it was true.
no. Well, one is we can debate. But on another hand, is that he gave previous speeches where he talked about, where he said, I can't do things just for black folks, but then in other speeches, consult the 2012 speech, National Urban League Convention, where he talked about having targeted programs for those most in need. And so for black folks, it's like, well, if that's the case, where's the targeted the unemployment program for those most in need? And so when folks say black agenda, again, for all y'all new ass black people, let me take you back to Maynard Jackson. Maynard Jackson had the concept of every African American in America having a business-sized card that can go in any wallet that said these are these are the black agenda, and so we can ask any black person, anybody running for office, your position on this. So to Avis's point, when you say black agenda, that's really defined by the person who's asking the question. So yes, the onus of a black agenda is really upon the organization or the entity or the group asking those questions. So the group that deals with black home ownership, they are going to have very specific questions for Senator Kamala Harris. The groups that deal with criminal justice are going to have very specific conversations. The groups that deal with health are going to have very specific conversations. And so that's what you're going to have there. But for all these other people, yes, who go, oh, where's her black agenda? As I kept saying, for a week in, no politician is going to lay out expansive position papers on different groups. Those things are actually evolved over time. And so usually when you roll a campaign out, you have general themes that are universal themes because you are not talking to individual groups.
But she went out on a limb. She went so far out, she made me a little nervous. I mean, she was
she
very specific about things that affect the African American community in a way, to me, that if she wasn't trying to wrap her arms around it, she could have just left off and saved for when people are pressing her on those issues. So I was thankful that she did that up front.
But folks want to actually hear black. Let's just be real on it. They actually want to just hear black. See,
she did.
He did that yesterday. No.
It came all the way out.
No, you understand. When I say they want to hear, that's all they want to hear. Yeah, I'm just saying, you got. It's understanding.
Nobody else.
It's understanding. It's understanding what some people are talking about and what they're asking for in this whole deal. And again, I go back to the Obama effect. There are a significant number of people, and let me say this: this is not just Hotep. It's not just ADOS. It's not just black nationalists. It's not just, no. There are a lot of African Americans who are on Capitol Hill, who are black CEOs, who are black small business owners, who are black folks in academia and other areas, who, although you have not heard them publicly go there, they were disappointed in the 8 years of Obama. So let's just be real clear, okay? Since we're going to sit here and just be real honest, okay? What you're seeing with Senator Kamala Harris, what you're going to see with Senator Cory Booker, what you potentially will see with former Attorney General Eric Holder, what you would have seen with Governor Deval Patrick, are black folks saying, we screwed up. We were quiet for 8 years. We sat here and mobilized and raised money and knocked on doors because we got hyped about a black president. And I long said, and again, feel free to go pull the tape. I said for a long time that black folks were the only ones who were left at the inauguration parade looking like this here. We got a black first family. Now everybody else left. Now I told y'all in the first 60 days, LGBT community gave Obama a 54-page agenda for what they wanted. Black organizations, and don't act like I don't know what I'm talking about because I was there. 5 years after Obama's first elected, gathered at a hotel across the street, Washington Hilton, where they assembled to put together their black agenda, and then took 9 months typing it up. Don't act like I wasn't there because I was in the room at the news conference. So what you're seeing is, you're seeing folks saying, I need to hear some stuff now before I invest in you over anybody else, because frankly, I screwed up last time.
Yeah, that's like they were left empty-handed.
No, I know that.
But they didn't get everything they wanted.
But I'm
not going to stand for people acting like in 8 years they didn't end up with the best unemployment rate that we've ever had in the entire history, like of black unemployment rates. It's a little ridiculous. Healthcare, who do they think that disproportionately affects? Students being able to get their parents' insurance while they're still in college. These are poor people, black people.
Right. But there were
issues.
some fundamental issues. First of all, one of the most chaotic decisions they made came the Parent Plus decision, and when they made it, when it came down in August of 2012, that led to upwards of 15,000 HBCU students not being able to come back, led to significant funding shortages of those HBCUs that they still are having to deal with. We still saw, before Obama came in, 53% of black wealth wiped out due to the home foreclosure crisis, and his housing programs were not effective. Sean Donovan was a HUD secretary, came on my show, Washington Watch, 3 different times with a new plan. I said, Sean,
because white folks always had the upper hand.
The previous two didn't work, bro.
Always.
And so,
we in their system.
There were things there that black folks wanted to see. They wanted to see. I remember sitting in the Treasury Department being told that minority firms outperformed white firms with the handling of TARP dollars. And then all of a sudden, I went, well, hell, that means we're going to get more money to manage? No. The answer was no. And so there were some legitimate concerns. I just think that this not, I want you to say viciousness, but this really, like what you going to do is really a result of a lot of black folks not doing it with Obama and then being frustrated by saying what happened. I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, I don't know whether you got all that or not. Hopefully you did and whatever, and took from it what I took from it, and basically that they're discussing whether this woman who is qualified to run for president when, of course, if she's not sanctioned by the majority, the minority in this country, the majority in this country, minority, they're not the majority globally, but they're minority, but they're the majority in this country. And they set the system, they set the rules. So all of it is just talk again, something to keep the news cycles going, rolling. I had to slap him on this one. He, said a little negative things about people, new people coming to the game, starting YouTube channels. YouTube channels ain't always been around for us in our 40s and 50s and 60s who are out here, who always had an opinion. Nobody gives a fuck about the grassroots black people who do it without the platform. Those with the platform has failed us over the years, and I guess that's the crux of why I wanted to make this video, and just to put some food for thought for those of us out here who seek to be free black people. This who is for. If you don't understand what this video is about, then please, that's okay. But I just, common sense says, I won't be voting for in the next election or any other election, even if there's a child of slaves running, because I'm sure, somebody got their arm up his ass or her ass until this system changes, until they change that political game, which is set up to do just what it's doing. And just the fact that they have lobbyists, just the fact that they don't have term limits in Congress, just the fact that, I'm going to stop right there. But anyway, like I said, my opinion on this Harris chick is, she sucked on the devil's dick, and she, she participated in the oppression of children of slaves living in North America. And unless she's willing to make it to the top seat and do some select things to effectively make a change in our condition in this country, then hey, put it out there. Quit throwing out little, slave masters, little quick words that you want to entice the grassroots of us to come and get on board with you on that. You have a lot to make amends for. Start talking that, and maybe you will get more response even from down to earth white people. Don't count out the down to earth white people. That's why Trump got in. I was hoping Trump got in from the beginning, until he started talking about Sessions and stop and frisk, and and all his his racist shit started to come. Well, I mean, I knew all of them was racist and whatever. I don't trust a white man with gray hair now, because where were you at in the 60s and 50s? Were you complicit? How many of our people have you hung or killed or whatever, or that type of thing? But again, that's me. You don't have to get scared because I'm saying that, but that's the truth, and you know it. This ain't no conspiracy within my head. I've had relatives, ancestors who I, look to and who guides us in our daily lives, whether you want to believe that. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. Our ancestors that was on that slave ship, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. You want to give homage to your mother and your dad and whatever, but keep giving homage all the way back. It was somebody that was in a situation going down. They had reproduced, but yet they got hung, and the children lived on and whatever, and certain things. So, from being treated like animals to being treated like lap dogs now, premium animals in a sense, but still fearful. And, of course, they treat dogs better than they treat us and whatever, but y'all know all that, so I ain't gonna get into a ramble on it. But bottom line is, just want to put that out there for food for thought, and that for those of you that, are twisted about voting for who and blah, blah, blah. Again, my disqualifying factor is she was a prosecutor. And whatever, for those of you who do vote and whatever, I say look at that more than anything. She's going to try to make excuses, just like Clinton, just like, the whole thing. I got tricked into voting for Clinton again. I went off on the rabbit hole, but that's why I voted for in this last election, because of Trump and Sessions and stop and frisk and all that kind of thing. I went on, but hell, from what I understood, the little I used to watch of that vicious news cycle was that she felt she was just going to automatically get the black vote because we're stupid, or, we're ignorant, or we're bamboozled, and you got enough fraternities and sororities, and I have to say, I ain't no fan of no fraternities and sororities. Y'all have let us down. If you're a black fraternity or black sorority, I know how that game is played and how y'all hook each other up in y'all professional degrees, and y'all end up and it become about the money and playing in the white man game. But how come you won't put back and invest in the community? There's ways to invest in the community without the community, or you being fearful of the community just wasting your money. It's a lot of things that you can invest in the community with the money that you didn't made in the white man's world that would help bring us up. But then there's always that element, and i.e. the main reason I made this video is to remind you to be a free black people. There's always somebody out there. There's always an element. The man spends $1 trillion a year to make sure that we stay asleep. Every Sunday morning, he got you gathered. Every Friday, he got you gathered, paying homage, praising him. If you don't believe that, if you don't know that, his ideology, instead of living, getting your heaven on this earth, not going for the okie doke. Ain't nobody ever said that Trump was no religious person. Ain't nobody said nothing about him being holier than thou. But yet y'all worship, because white folks, the ones that run shit, do not believe in a religion. They know that God works within them, that you're God, And you don't need to be bowing down to something mystery. If it helps you to get you through your day and that's what it's about, then go ahead. But worship thyself and make yourself from there a betterment to those around you, because you're not here alone. Animals got better sense than us, even though we have dominion. But that's what, the man has taught you, and it perpetuates, and we got it to where it perpetuates ourselves. So you get anybody to tell you any different, buy some land, get out of them cookie cutter neighborhoods, start self-sustaining, quit eating that bullshit out there, that shit that's killing you. Y'all know what it is. I ain't got to go back through the list. Again, I expected this to be a shorter video, but thank you again, and we hope to see you later. Free black people, free black people, free black people. Strive to become free.